Evans now, but Balling lands on his feet. Pele kick. Pele kick, and the United States champion goes down.
Talk about chaos.
Absolute pandemonium.
Hernandez
now.
He wiped out Luke.
Look out! Man, Balling goes down hard.
Dallas down.
Holy!
Dallas is not having a good night here
Tony
tonight.
Evans now, but Balling lands on his feet. Pele kick. Pele kick, and the United States champion goes down.
Evans
Wait,
moving the
chaos.
Dallas Edwards other.
Absolute pandemonium.
He just caught Hernandez with the back fist.
Slam. Man, Balling goes down hard.
This thing is completely falling apart. Dallas is not having a good night here tonight.
Referee Dallas Edwards is in some trouble here, guys.
Evans moving the carcass of Dallas Edwards other. Oh! He just caught Hernandez with the back fist. This thing is completely falling apart.
We don't want to put this. Referee Dallas Edwards is in some trouble here, guys. Our referee Dallas Edwards is having a medical situation here. So let's. On camera here. Having a medical situation here. Well, ladies and gentlemen,
late night glow from the laptop screen. Old fights roll like a memory. We break down every hold, every heartache. Heroes fall, then they rise again. We feel the bruise behind the glory. We live for every comeback story. From the indie halls to the Titans ring, we hear the crowd roar. We feel everything. Oh yeah, this is the value of wrestling, where the broken keep on pressing. Every scar, every chant, every blessing. broken, keep on pressing. Every scar, every chant, every blessing. We are contenders and not pretenders. We keep the flame alive forever. From the past to the next thing we're guessing. This is the value of wrestling.
default.
Okay, there we go. There we go. Now I'm live. All of that. My bad, ladies and gentlemen. My bad. I'm sitting here and having viewers come in, but nobody can tell me that, hey, yeah, there's no sound coming out. No sound at all, but it looks like okay, there we all right, so we have sound. Oh, sorry, I wasted all the time. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Value of Wrestling. On the Big Time BT Baldwin. This is breakdown, or this is the Big Time breakdown, updates, major news. I told you that we may or may not come. I wasn't prepared to go live. Why everything is all screwy, and yeah. I'm waiting to see if anybody's going to join me. That's a big key to all of this. If somebody's going to come in and talk, but I am here at almost 4 p.m. Pacific time. I am live now, and I am looking to see if anybody's reaching out to me because we had a major incident that has just come out within the last couple hours. I was just became aware of it and felt like this is something I could notate on Twitter. I could give my 2 cents on Twitter, but I really think this is something that needs to be reached out and stated in a more conversational way like this, and open the floor to others to come talk about it, because that is always a good thing to have that available. Gonna close that up. So yeah, I'm looking at news reports. Anyways, there was an incident in Ohio Valley Wrestling. I'm going to read you the main report that I was reading. This comes from eWrestling News. This was put out today. I don't know how long ago. I wish it would give me a timestamp on that. This looks like it happened maybe yesterday, and we're just getting reports of it. I'm sending videos from 15 hours ago. But let's read this article from eWrestling News. Ohio Valley Wrestling referee suffers incredibly scary seizure in the ring, and an update on his health. A referee was knocked unconscious and suffered a brain injury during Thursday night, so we're talking last night, episode of OVW's weekly series Rise in Louisville, Kentucky. The incident occurred during the multi-man main event when OVW Rush champion Brandon Balling came off the top ropes attempting a flying forearm on the heel Tony Evans. Evans would pull referee Dallas Edwards into the path of the move, and Balling accidentally connected with Edwards. The referee struck his head on the mat and was immediately knocked out, with his body appearing to seize and go into convulsions. Balling and Evans continued performing around Edwards as his arms and legs were twitching on the mat. Evans then grabbed Edwards by the pants and rolled him over before using his foot to push him further away from the other wrestlers. Moments later, someone entered the ring and the match was stopped. Cameras were quickly kept off Edwards, and OVW announcers they were going off air due to a medical situation involving the referee. Edwards' girlfriend has came out and said, put a statement on Facebook, and that is as follows, and I quote, "Please keep Dallas in your thoughts as your day begins. I'm not going to provide much more information at this time except to the parties who already know. But last night resulted in a brain injury that is being monitored and will continue to be monitored by doctors here. Seeing all the support you guys have already given is amazing, and I didn't want to leave everyone without some kind of update." St. Louis Anarchy also acknowledged the incident on Twitter. OVW, which operates a trade school in Kentucky and is overseen by Al Snow, has not yet issued an official statement regarding the situation. This article from eWrestling News states, "We send our best wishes to Dallas Edwards, and during this difficult time, we here at the Value Wrestling do the same. We wish a speedy and safe recovery to this young man. We know he's suffering a brain injury. What the details of that are, we don't know. Hopefully everything is okay, and he will be okay, and we can go on." And with that said, wrestling is a dangerous sport. Whether people want to say it's a sport, want to say it's fake, there are risks that are taken in every aspect. Once you step in that ring, you are putting your life out there. Not that things normally happen, and not that you should expect things to happen, but there's a certain element of understanding that if you step into a wrestling ring, something could go awry totally by fluke accident, and it could change the whole course of everything that's going on. And I know that from being around wrestling and seeing a match where pretty much everything that could have been planned went awry. Not only did we see one incident, but two incidents in the same match um, that kind of threw the whole thing off the rail. And so, I have a little bit of understanding. I'm hoping somebody else out there will pop on here and kind of give me their opinion on this. But Fadeaway Media tweeted, a referee suffered a legitimate seizure during an OVW show and was just thrown to the side while the match kept going for a few more minutes before anyone finally checked on him. And that's an opinion. Somebody named Swerve383658. I just watched referee having a seizure in OVW, and it's effing horrible. These idiots just wrestle around him, and then as he's stiff and shaking, one of the clowns just drags him out of the way. One of the worst things I've seen in wrestling, and that is saying something. Brandon Balling, who was in the match, posted a picture that showed Daniel Edwards is stable and being looked at over at the hospital currently. He's awake, coherent, and in good spirits, and that is good. All thoughts and prayers are appreciated. He loves all of you a ton, and we'll check in with you guys more. And so that's the news article from eWrestling News. Let's see, OVW. Okay, that's one thing. Okay, OVW has issued a statement after the in-ring incident. This was about 2 hours ago. I guess OVW has commented on the incident that saw one of its referees have a seizure in the middle of a match during an OVW Rise taping on March 12th. Wrestler Brandon Balling collided with referee Dallas Edwards as he attempted a flying forearm from the turnbuckle. Edwards ended up having a seizure in the middle of the ring, but the wrestlers didn't offer medical help or stop the match and continued performing the spot after kicking Edwards out of the way. And this is the report. This is not the statement. We haven't gotten to that. Many wrestling personalities and fans have criticized everyone involved, including OVW, for their negligence during the incident. OVW comments on Dallas Edwards' incidents with the following. OVW has now issued a statement on the incident, posting the following statement on social media. And I quote, last night during Rise, referee Dallas Edwards, a member of our OVW family, experienced a medical emergency during the broadcast. OVW takes the health and well-being of all our performers extremely seriously, and as a company, we are distraught to see an injury to one of our own. Dallas is alert and doing much better. We ask everyone to keep him in your thoughts and prayers and respect his and his family's privacy at this time. We will provide an update as soon as it's available, but in the meantime, we wish Dallas a speedy recovery, and we can't wait until he's back with our OVW family very soon. OVW has removed the episode of Rise from its YouTube channel, but it's still available on Triller TV. Frightful's Sean Ross Sapp also provided an update with a statement from Edwards' girlfriend, asking that fans should keep Edwards in their prayers and reveal that the referee sustained a brain injury and the doctors are monitoring him. And so that's what we read earlier in the last report. I don't know. I mean, doesn't look like it was too big of an OVW statement from there. I'm trying to see if there's anything significant. I know certain people are saying that the people in the ring who wrestled during this match should be fired. I'm trying to see what is being said more thoroughly here. This report comes to us from TJR Wrestling. Let's see what they have to say. Ohio Valley Wrestling used to be home of WWE's developmental talent. Yay. We're going to bring up pretty old history now, but over the years it's undergone changes. Former WWE ECW star Al Snow has owned the promotion and runs it day-to-day operations for many years, while wrestlers go to OVW to develop their skills in hopes of major success in the future. OVW does run a TV program called Rise. The TV taping airs on Thursdays and airs on YouTube. Unfortunately, on their March 12th episode in Louisville, a referee suffered a serious health issue during a match that put a halt to what was supposed to be a fun event for everybody involved. During the match, OVW Rush champion Brandon Balling came off the top rope with flying forearm to his opponent, Tony Evans. However, Evans pulled the referee in his way. That was in the path of the move, and Balling connected with Edwards. Unfortunately, Evans hit his head on the mat and was knocked out. Which caused Edwards to have a seizure and his body convulsed while the wrestlers continued the match. After Edwards was obviously in a scary situation, he was pushed out of the way, and eventually the match was stopped. The show went off the air, and Edwards received medical attention. We read the girlfriend's post. Wrestler Beef and Gnarls Gavin As a close friend of Dallas Edwards wrote about it on Facebook, expressing his disappointment with the situation. And this is what Wrestler Beef / Gnarls Garvin. If I'm saying that name wrong, please forgive me. But anyways, this is a very serious post from me. Dallas Edwards is one of my best friends, and this is, I quote, "This is a very serious post from me. Dallas Edwards is one of my best friends in this world. I spend time with him almost every single day. What happened last night, OVW Wrestling, was and is completely total negligence and 100% avoidable." And we're getting hung up because of drop brain fakes, and I don't like this. I'm trying to do a live episode, and it's giving me shits right now. Can we get back up to normal speed? Can we just stay in the normal? I'm not trying to run a whole bunch of other stuff. Yeah. Stay up high. Come on. Stay in the higher feeding area, and of course the lawn guys have to be here as soon as I want to go over all this news. Yay. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Gnarls Gavin was saying that he's a friend of Dallas. He did say OVW was and is completely, totally negligent and 100%. This was what happened last night. OVW Wrestling was and is completely, total negligence and 100% avoidable. And that's I don't know how much this person understands about wrestling. And I don't know what he's saying is complete, total negligence and 100% avoidable. He goes on to say, "I'm beyond anger right now, and everyone involved with not helping him while having the seizure needs to burn their boots and go back to training day one. Accidents happen, and we do what we do is very dangerous. I'm very ashamed in all the wrestlers who didn't put safety first of all involved. Say a prayer for Dallas today." Oh. Then I'm looking the repeat of what OVW has already posted. WrestleZone seems to say the same thing in their report, and I'm hesitant to play the video that shows the incident. I think I will show. I don't know. It's on Instagram. All right, it's on Twitter, everywhere. I mean, you can see it. It's not a secret. It's not hiding. I wish I had somebody here. I know who really could give a great opinion. And it'd be great to see somebody's opinion on this matter, because I'm kind of torn down the middle. And I think we got to watch the footage to really understand it. And I hate that in some context. But in this context, maybe we need to watch how this footage plays out so we can better understand it. I'm going to cut out the audio because there's no real need for the audio in sense. And so right there, we see the hit happen. And we know that this is Brandon Bowling, the Rush champion. He hits Dallas Edwards with the elbow. He goes down. I wish I could go back, but there's not a good way to go back with this. To see how he hit, I wasn't focused on that. But you can see that Dallas is checking on, or not Dallas, Brandon Bowling here is checking on him. And, well, you can't even see the video. I'm going to have to run through the video, restart it, because it's not even up on your screen. What? I'm kind of stumbling into this, not very coherently, so please forgive me. Please forgive me. I wasn't going to do this. I wasn't going to come on and do any reports today. It's Friday. And I'm sure we'll talk about this more on Sunday when the weekly roundup takes place, when we're going to talk about a lot of the other things that are going on in the world of wrestling. But this has come out, and this is pretty major. I wish Mr. Z could jump in here. Love to hear Ugly's kind of spin on this, because Ugly, I've seen instances that have happened, and Ugly knows firsthand. Stuff can happen in a wrestling ring that's beyond everybody's control. Things can happen like that change direction of a match, change things, and everything else. And, you know, if people in the ring are not well trained, you can have issues. Or if people in the ring can be completely trained, but if they're not, what I should say, if you have people in the ring and they don't understand things in a medical capacity, like I can't say that these wrestlers in the ring knew, and anybody around the ring knew that Dallas was having a seizure. So we have to think in this context. If they didn't know he was having a seizure, and you know, there might be some grounds that initially people were thinking he was just selling this. I don't know enough about this referee. I don't know enough about Dallas and if he's taken bumps before and what his, as a referee, selling capacity is. You can see there is some awkwardness during this match after this incident takes place that makes you go, okay, there is definitely something there. And you can see the wrestlers kind of going, maybe something isn't right here. And then eventually somebody does get into the ring and start checking on him, which pretty much stops the match there. Now, most people who get into wrestling are not medically knowledgeable, and I think it's great when companies take the extra step to bring in somebody to teach some basic medical principles, CPR, first aid, some basic things to help you. It says so maybe you're better prepared if an incident was to happen during a match. You may know what to do. If these guys may have known this wasn't the norm and something was going on, you might have been able to take another precaution to avoid this. But some of this stuff that I've seen, and I'm probably not going to be the person with the best take or the greatest take, but I'm kind of in this middle path where I understand an unfortunate accident happened, and prayers and thoughts are with Dallas Edwards, and we hope him a speedy recovery. I want everything to be great, and it's a shame this happened at all. But there's also this part where we look at it and go, you know, we've seen wrestling continue on. I've been to a match where somebody was suffered a concussion. They were knocked out in the middle of a match. It briefly stopped the match, but other people continued the match in a different way because they didn't necessarily know what was going on, and also because you have a live audience. They were trying to remove the live audience from the situation happening in the ring and focus to what was going on the outside of the ring. So there's that element in this thought process that I think needs to be taken into consideration because it's wrestling. It's unfortunate. So, I mean, there's a lot of people who are saying these guys need to be fired. They need to be removed. They could have done something different. We're going to watch this video footage now and see what we think. We're going to watch here as this match is coming together. We see Brandon here. He's up. Brandon Balling's up on the top rope. This is Tony Evans down on his knees. Dallas Edwards is your referee in the middle of this. And as we watch, we see Dallas coming up. We see Tony pulling Dallas in. And we see the Brandon Balling in the midair coming down with the forearm. We have to assume to an extent that this part of this was at least set up. At least some of this was discussed and set up. We have to believe that Edwards did know that he was going to take a quote unquote, as we call it in what they call it in the business, a bump, and this was going to happen. He is looking up, from what I can tell, at Brandon Balling. We can see he sees it coming down. Tony Evans is there holding him, and we see Tony Evans move out of the way. We see Edwards in a very awkward position. He looks like he's about to take his bump. Like he's... That's interesting. Is he pre-taking his bump? I don't know. And people who are not completely or well trained, if you know, I'm giving too much away. I gotta shut up. Somebody's gonna yell at me and get mad. Anyways, so we see here, it looks like everybody knows what they're doing. Edwards is protecting himself and as much as he can from this move. Ooh. 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 Yikes. Yikes. Man. Oh. Man. Mm. 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 He took a rough bump there. He took a really, and he landed on him. He landed on him in a very awkward way. That was, and that's why we see Brandon here in this scenario. He knows that some of that did not go according to plan. That was not initially how all the pieces should have fallen. And Bali, knowing that he had landed on him kind of rough, that he's definitely looking at him, checking on him here, trying to see if he's okay. And I don't know at that point if because what we're seeing there is Bali checking on the referee. He seems to seem like something's not, he's trying to check on him, trying to talk to him. I don't know what we're hearing here, but we don't know what we know. What we can say is that Tony Evans does not know what happened in all of this. Like, Tony Evans had his back turned from what we could tell, so he may not know how that outcome, the fall, the bump, and everything looked. And he's also not understanding that you think the referee got knocked out. This is what the referee's doing. And he's continuing the match because he is the quote-unquote heel in this match. So he is going to continue the attack because, of course, at this time, we don't know the severity of the resulting impact here. And we're going to continue on. We get the backdrop where he lands on his feet. And then we get the big kick here. Tony Evans goes down. And this, we see Edwards kind of pushing, or not Edwards, we see Evans pushing Edwards slightly out of the way because he has not moved. We see Balling, I don't know if he's getting up and saying he's getting up or if he's trying to check on the referee here. He may be, and he's moving kind of slow. He just made that move. And we see this guy who definitely, whoever this guy is, didn't know what was going on. And we're just beginning to see the referee fail where he's starting to have a seizure. And in the midst of the action, I can't say this guy knows what's going on. Now, I think he looked over there and saw the referee, and here's where some of this confusion comes in. He's talking to his partner. Evans is here crawling around. They've slowed the pace down a little bit, and here's where a lot of people are upset. Evans is rolling Edwards out of the way and then kind of pushes him with his foot because what they're going to do is they're going to set up for the next move. Now, the referee hasn't moved out of the way. And if you're trained as a referee, you should know to get out of the way. You got to get out. Once the biggest thing, trained in any ring action, whoever you may be, if you're going to be in that ring and you're going to be in an environment where something could happen or will happen, you have to understand that once you go down, you want to get out of the way. And at this point, that is why they kind of moved him out of the way. They are in the midst of the match. They are continuing the match. It's not dawning on them anything is wrong with Edwards. We are watching it and we're seeing signs of, hey, something's not wrong, especially here where we start seeing the seizure kicking in. We see the move go down. And a lot of this time, as this is happening over here, behind them, they're not able to necessarily see this. And then we see them start talking. This is having their little conversation. And about this time, we see somebody coming in and looking over the referee. And this is when this match kind of stops and everybody's going, okay. So, negligence, avoidance. I don't know. A lot of people are pissed about how the situation went down. A lot of people are upset that possibly people didn't move quicker. People were upset that the match continued on for a couple of moves. Less than a handful of moves took place during this. But once it was acknowledged that something was seriously wrong, the match stopped and people were doing what they needed to. You've got to remember the man over here in the corner is Tony Evans. He's the heel. And even in this situation when somebody's injured, a heel may still be trying to play to the character because there's a live audience there. And so he may be sitting in the corner. Why he's not going to check? You know, the other guy, I don't know who the other guy is, if he's babyface or heel. He definitely kind of rolled over it and started checking out what's going on. Everybody's up. The announcers off to the side are kind of talking about it, and it's being acknowledged. And of course, they cut the show here in a minute. And they go, "We're going to go off air. We're going to call it for the night. We have a medical situation that takes place," and that's what you get. I'd love to hear Ugly talk about this. Ugly's going to be an expertise, and I look at Ugly because not to point fingers, but Ugly was involved. And if anybody was at last year's SPW's 25th anniversary show, then you kind of know the incident that took place. And everybody who was involved in that is okay and recovered and doing great things these days. But unfortunately, and I don't want to get, it's not about pointing fingers. It was just things like here happen. A move was done. The referee took a nasty, I can't emphasize. It was a nasty bump. And even I am not, a top, I have some training. Yes, I'm not going to lie. Yes, I have some training. I understand there's a way to, you need to be able to hit the mat. And now give me 1 second while I get myself back on the screen here for you so we can continue the conversation, because that's the end of the video. They go off the air. And I don't want to give away too much, but I know a lot of people give away a lot of crap. There's a way you're supposed to bump. And if you train, you know, and if you know, you know. And unfortunately, the way the referee went down wasn't in a manner that was safe. And there's a reason why you're trained how to do these things for whatever position. If you're going to be involved in wrestling, it is a great idea to take some basic training, because if you're going to be involved in something, any angle, any form, or any way, you need to know how to react and act to all the things that are going to happen. And in this situation, I'm not saying anybody wasn't trained. I'm not saying that anybody didn't know what they were doing. I would have to rest assured that Dallas Edwards, being in a referee outfit, being in a OVW ring, and looking at him, he may be a training up-and-coming wrestler. A lot of times when somebody is coming up through the ranks of wrestling, they're getting their training and they haven't quite met the standards to be on shows. They will fill in spots as security wrestlers, ring announcers, whatever else positions they can fulfill as they are progressing through their training. And so Dallas Edwards could very much be training. I don't know. Don't quote me. He may just like being a referee. There are a lot of referees in the business. They love the referee, and that's all they do. They just ref. And they have some basic skill abilities to work as a referee, and that's what they do, and that's great. But sometimes these guys, and Dallas looks like maybe he is training to be a wrestler, maybe he's not, and we're not going to get into details. But it was a nasty bump. It was a real bad bump. He banged his head pretty viciously. It does look like Brendan falling in the motion of all of this and how they collided and how they fell, kind of landed on him, which probably did not help the situation. And there's a sense that is avoidable. You want to be, people are angry and people want to say things, and I get that. Was it avoidable? To an extent, it could be avoidable, but it also takes both parties in wrestling to know exactly what to do when these things are coming together. Negligence. Maybe I'm wrong, but I have a hard time just stomping somebody for complete negligence in a wrestling match like this, because I don't see intended negligence. If you want to say unconscious negligence, if you want to say there was negligence in the sense that somebody should have been more aware of the situation, I can accept that. But if you're going to tell me that everybody involved in this match was negligent at the point that they didn't stop or didn't do something or react to what was going on in the ring, I can't just fire at that. I can't just say that is complete and utter negligence. I don't see it. And I've watched this video several times, and that's why I came on here, because I feel there's a lot of heat here, a lot of anger, a lot of hostility, a lot of attack. I've heard people saying all these men should be fired, that they should no longer be available. They shouldn't wrestle anymore. They should take their boots and burn them. They should be barred from professional wrestling. And I'm going, again, I look at this, at the aspect, this was an accident. This wasn't something that was intentionally done. It was an accident. Now, Tony Evans rolling Brandon Edwards out of the way when there seemed to be something wrong. Is there negligence there? I think Tony Evans and what it looked like his partner in this match, I don't know all the details, was setting up for the next move. They were continuing the match. They didn't necessarily know the signs of what was being shown by the referee. And the medical team around the ring didn't know. And it's hard to say. And being at a live wrestling event and seeing something that happened when, okay, let's break it down. I was there for SPW 25th anniversary show when somebody took a nasty bump and knocked themselves out. And I'm not going to say names. If you know, you know. And if you already know, it's fine. I don't want to get into this idea of we need to discuss who, what, when, where, why. It happened. Well, I'm saying where and why, where and when I get, just to give context. Anyways, I was there. This match took place. Somebody suffered a concussion in the ring. And in the immediate following after that, things were a little awkward, but other people in the match started taking things and trying to do things around and outside the ring, even to kind of take the audience away from what was going on in the ring while they were trying to assess what was going on. But also to take people away from that. But also, it takes a minute when you're in that wrestling ring, your energy is up, your adrenaline's up, you're focusing on what you're supposed to be doing and not necessarily prepared. And that's why it's so important to be well trained so you can kind of deal with when things don't go right, how to react and what to do. So this is where I'm like, it's hard for me to come down on Tony Evans, who is a heel. We have to remember that in a match, who rolls the referee out of the way and kind of boots him a little bit, and not a mean boot. I mean, he just kind of shoved him with his boot. And his whole thought process, I can guarantee or would say, was he was trying to get him out of the way so nothing else, he would get hit. And he was probably going, I don't know how long this kid's been around the business. I don't know how much time he spent, this Stout Edwards. So I don't know enough to give details on that, but I am assuming that Tony Evans was getting the referee out of the way so they could do the next move, not knowing what the condition was or how serious this condition was, concussion, brain injury, seizure, tragic stuff, and it doesn't need to be downplayed because it is serious. But again, in a wrestling match, as the one I've seen, they continued on. Once the person who had suffered a concussion was moved out of the ring, the match continued on, and later in the match, somebody got their nose broke. And so this caused another element of the match to get thrown off and slow down and take a different turn, but the match still goes on. So things happen in wrestling matches. They're unfortunate. But when we come to negligence, we really have to look and really define negligence as like something. I mean, I don't think in this scenario, and hopefully when I talk to Mr. Z, hopefully he'll be here Sunday when we do the weekly roundup. Hopefully at some point Ugly will get some of this context and maybe he can talk to it from a perspective that he understands very much. I've seen wrestling matches where stuff has happened, stuff that's happened where people got injured, and stuff that's happened where it was very scary in the moment, but everybody was okay. And so it's hard for me to sit here, and I may be wrong. I may have everybody come after me and say they were completely negligent, that they should have stopped the match then. But as I've seen it, as I've been trained, as I understand it, when something happens, if you don't know exactly, I mean, wrestlers don't necessarily know what a seizure looks like. How many people really, really know the signs of a seizure? How many of you out there would see somebody that was having a seizure and go, oh, I know what's going on? I don't know if that's a big majority, a little majority, how many people would know? So you've got to kind of take away, if they didn't know what a seizure looked like, then they're just seeing a referee who's down. Now, they don't know if this referee's selling because he took a brutal move or if he's really hurt. and they're trying to continue the match. There are supposed to be other people. They're supposed to be medical, and I believe at this high level there should have been a medical team at ringside that was going, something's going on. Now, was that medical person right at ringside, or was that medical person in the back and then alerted? Was this a chain of things that had to come? Because even in the match that I was at where somebody took a concussion, it took a few moments before somebody with some medical training came out from the back and hit the ring and went, hey, okay, this is what's going on, and made decisions. So there is a level of, where was a medical person? Were they in the back? Were they knowledgeable what happened in the ring before they could get out there? Does this change things? Yeah, I would think that, I think when you're having wrestling, it would be very key to have somebody medically trained within ringside, somebody who's right there. Even if they're behind the curtain watching a monitor, there still needs to be somebody, I think, who can be fairly close in case you see something like this and they're trying to go, that person's having a seizure. I need to get out there and get them out of that environment or get them into a safe position, because in the context of wrestling, the match must go on. The wrestlers are going to continue on because they don't know necessarily that the ref is seriously injured, or if he's playing up what he took. And so, I mean, to break it down, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody will come back and go, I'm stupid. I don't know. But I'm looking at this from what I saw, and I never saw anybody negligent from the things that happened in the match that I watched, where people could say, oh, so-and-so messed up. So-and-so did this. Da-da-da-da-da. That match was completely accidental. Nobody meant to hurt anybody in that match. People were friends and quote-unquote family in that match. All the people in that match, it had some care for one another. And when that incident happened, it was what it was. And I I hate to give behind the scenes crap away, but I'm kind of stuck in this scenario because I'm trying to really get this perspective. I don't think there was the ill intent of negligence. I know a lot of people are coming out and striking these guys down because they didn't do what they think is right. But again, step in a ring and put yourself in that situation. Go get trained. Step in the ring. Let something outside of what you have a knowledge for. Because you're trained to wrestle, you get in a wrestling ring, you're wrestling, you're doing your thing. Accident happens. Wrestler gets knocked out. Referee gets knocked out. Somebody gets knocked out. As a trained wrestler, you don't know because there's so many things. It's hard to say. But I can't put pure negligence. I don't think there was. If we want to put negligence, maybe on having somebody come to the ring and check the referee. Maybe it did take too long for somebody to check on the referee, but I don't know if I can hit the people who were in the ring up and say they're horrible, they're bad, they shouldn't wrestle anymore, they should go burn their boots, they should be fired. It sounds too big of a jump because it was a planned spot, forearm. Edwards hit the ring, and yes, he banged his head, and it was nasty. I think Brandon Ballings, kind of knew something didn't quite land right, but he didn't know how severe it was. And I think, in that initial, you look at the video, you can see he's trying to talk to Dallas, and I think he was trying to make an assessment, but Tony Evans, who I have to assume, for the most part, from where he comes off of camera and back in the frame, grabbing Balling for the next move, I don't know if Evans really understood the impact or how everything went down. Now, the commentator did say something went down wrong with Edwards at one point, and then, yes, we know Evans kind of scooted the referee out, or scooted Edwards out of the way, and then kind of gave him a nudge with his foot, booted him, kicked him out of the way. I mean, it was a nudge with a foot. You can use terminology to make it sound more exciting. Oh, he kicked him out of the way, and that sounds like more intent, like he just kicked him out of the way, like he was not. And I don't see like this is a kick. That's why I want to say he kind of pushed him, maybe gave him a gentle boot out of the way. He didn't kick him. He wasn't, pushing him out of the ring. And of course, his thought pattern, I need to get him out of the way so we can do what's next. And there was nobody there to say, hey, don't touch him. And so, I mean, we're in a catch of all things. I mean, it's a slippery slope, and that is part of wrestling. But I mean, if we say every time something like that happens, there's somebody is negligent, then a whole bunch of people would be fired. Some really good people would be fired. Um, I don't know. Is there anybody else that is, here? Uh, I see Grimm is even upset about this. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just not seeing it for what it is. I don't, because I mean, watching the video initially, I think there's elements, and of course he does start to kind of roll out of the way before the real seizures kick in, or what we can see is a definitive, uh, and there's one, two, I think we had about 3 moves before this really stopped. So, I mean, it wasn't like a full match took place after it. And yes, we see Tony Evans, he rolls him out of the way. I don't know if I'll say gently. He just kind of grabs him and gets him out of the way of whatever's coming next, because he doesn't understand what's going on, but also trying to get him over to the corner so maybe somebody can come check on him. Grimm says, horrific scene out of OVW. Referee begins having legitimate seizure. These idiots continue wrestling around him as if he was selling the ref bump. Too stupid. This makes me so angry. Thoughts and prayers for the referee. I don't know. I don't know. It is interesting. I mean, there's going to be people on each side of this, and I'll accept at being wrong. I mean, I'm not having an issue with that, but looking at it from the perspective and the understanding I have, to just belittle them and attack them and come with such a full volatileness. I don't know. I'm kind of shocked with Grimm's, because Grimm from the GTS wrestles in the ring. I know he's had accidents happen. I'd love to have a debate with him. That would be fun, to have a conversation with him on why he feels the way he does. And yeah, I mean, maybe I'm being too easy. Maybe I should just need to be angry and just, I don't know. It happened, and I don't see like an excessiveness. I see wrestlers doing what they're kind of trained to do, continue the match. Um, should have somebody else been there? Probably there should have been somebody who stepped in, who could tell what was going on, and it's a very slippery slope, I know. And I hope Dallas Edwards is recovering, that he's going to be okay. Hopefully he can get back in there and wrestle. It was a nasty, nasty bump. Seeing it in slow-mo, it was nasty. He hit his head pretty hard. But people do this in wrestling. So I don't know. I love to hear somebody else's opinion. More in depth. Like, I really like to talk to somebody in their opinion. In my opinion, is my opinion. Just how I feel about it, how I've seen it, and being at a live match where I've seen an accident. Nobody had a seizure, but I've seen somebody in the middle of a match get knocked out cold, very much, and been there afterwards to see them come to and not completely understand how they got to where they are. After they were removed from the match. And I've seen, when that person got concussed, the match continued in a different way. But it takes some knowledge of understanding what should be done. The match kind of stopped briefly in the sense that Brandon Bolly hit the move. Brandon Bolly was trying to talk to Dallas Edwards, trying to check on him. You can see that very plainly and clearly. So I don't know if there was complete negligence on him. And then he was grabbed by Tony Evans, who continued the match, and they kind of did the next step in the match, which is kind of a training mechanism, which is kind of a just a second function. You know, you get trained to do these things. You just know, okay, this is what we're doing next, to make it clean. And then the other people who got in that match who were involved, you know, they weren't in the ring when this incident happened. So the next step, you know, when Evans and Balling, or when the other guy grabs Evans and Ball, or grabs Balling, and Evans comes up and then gives I think a back elbow. Balling ducks out of the way and hits the other guy. You know, that guy didn't know what was going on. He was just continuing the match. There's elements out of this. Do you want to look at Tony Evans and say you were wrong for moving the young man out of the way? From a medical position, you could probably say he probably shouldn't have been moved in that moment. But Evans was also trying to get him out of the way because they were trying to continue the match. And a big part of what I think goes into wrestling is somebody gets hurt and you have a live crowd. A big part of that is you might be thinking, I need to continue this match to distract from what's going on over here right now. Let's see if we can get everybody switched over here. So medical attention can be attained here and not lose the crowd in that moment. And unfortunately, this is just a sad effing situation. It's a sad, shitty situation. It just sucks.
Hey, I was gonna say, I was gonna ask if
get on here. Let me see. Give me a second. Mr. Z has jumped in here. How do I get you on? There we go. Give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. I don't have time to play Big Meaty Meat, and I don't think he cares if I play Big Meaty Meat at the right moment. But hello, Mr. Z. Welcome to the Big Time Breakdown. Glad to see you're here. I know you tweeted me with this. You made your tweet. I watched this on many levels, and I think you know the incident happened at last year's 25th anniversary show. I'm not trying to name names or anything or who's. It's not. It was an unfortunate event. There was a concussion suffered and a broken nose, and this match continued. But anyways, I've been talking for an hour basically. I'm gonna let you give your 2 cents. So you're here. How you feel, what you see, and what you think about it. I love to hear from Ugly. I really wish we had a way to reach out to Ugly. Go, hey.
Oh, I know. I was thinking that too. And first off, the events that happened at the anniversary was very unfortunate. We heard everything. I watched everything unfold. I watched the individuals make statements. I even watched the individual really feel bad about what happened. Accidents happen. But this thing that happened of a referee doing what happened to that ref and what they did during that match, there's no excuse for it. I mean, I seen what they tried to do, but clearly you could tell that the referee needed some medical attention like ASAP the minute he took his bump.
But do you feel it's negligence? My point being is I see Edwards, Bowen hits Edwards, and we go back and we can watch this. Now that you're here, let's pull this back up and watch this together because I'm having a hard time here. Let me pull it up. So I don't know if you can see it, but there's the moment of impact. The young man doesn't bump right. And I see Balling checking on the referee and talking to him. I see Evans off to the side. Evans is looking at the situation, assessing it, but as a heel and not knowing, I mean, here you don't necessarily know he's having a seizure. So the match is going on because, I mean, it's a wrestler. Your thought is, okay, the referee's down. Is he selling or whatnot? It's kind of secondary. I don't know. I can't say negligence because I think a lot of it is just you're doing what they're training to do. I mean, it sucks. I think the only where I could say negligence was somebody outside the ring should have jumped into the situation.
You see at the shows we've been to, and I know I can attest to the fans that have seen the shows we've been at.
Yeah.
There's always 2 or 3 hands ringside, no matter what.
Yeah.
So if something goes wrong, they can assess it while the match is still going on.
Well, and like
And then there was no. It didn't seem like there was no hands around to assess if the ref was actually okay. And like you said, the wrestlers are trained to keep going. So I totally understand that. But they needed someone at least on the outside, ring announcer, ring hand, a timekeeper, somebody.
Yeah, well, I mean, if we go back to the SPW 25th anniversary show, we're not beating up on nobody. It was a tragic accident.
No. Yeah.
SPW has well-trained people, and everybody involved is well-trained, and they have all the proper protocols. But this was just a fluke thing, and it did take a couple minutes there for somebody who's medically trained to go, "Oh, wait a minute." And another thing, behind the scenes, when you get behind that curtain, there's an element of a lot of people in an environment. So sometimes when somebody sees something on the screen, goes, "Wait, something's going on." And to find the right person sometimes can take a little while. But again, that's on a little bit of a smaller scale of an independent company like SPW. When you're talking about OVW, expect them to be a little bit of a higher level. So again, if somebody was in the back, they should have still had somebody medically trained to acknowledge and been watching the monitor or close by. But people are saying these guys should be fired.
No. That's a little much. Retrained? Retrained, yes,
possibly,
but don't punish them because they were at least the wrestlers were trained to do what they're supposed to do. But if you're gonna, like I said, if you want to get on people, you get on the ones that are on like who's watching the monitor when this happened, who's on the IFB letting somebody know, hey, something's wrong.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it was a nasty bump, and I can see Ballings, the guy who hit Edwards. And it didn't go right, and I'm trying not to give away too much, but
no, you're good.
Edwards didn't.
I get it.
There's a way to bump, and he didn't bump right, and he bumped awkwardly. And the way Ballings came down, he kind of landed on him. So I don't know how much more of that played into the severity of it. We do see as soon as Ballings is coming up and getting off of him, he's looking down. He's trying to check on him, but before a full connection, Evans walks over and grabs Balling. Now, Evans being the heel, I'm sorry. If I was the heel in a match and saw the ref was laying there, but not, I'm probably going to assume the ref is selling that he got knocked out.
Yes.
And my next mission as the heel, I don't care about the ref. Not to be mean as a heel, but in that environment, okay, ref's down, whatever. I need to get on top of this babyface and take the opportunity I have to beat him down. And after the ref,
no one knows. He's doing his job, like you said, as the heel. The ref's down. I'm gonna take, like you said. I really wish we had Ugly's 2 cents in this, because even Ugly will probably say the same. Will attest to it. The ref's down. He thinks the ref's selling. I'm going to be, as the heel, I'm taking advantage of it. We're either going outside to buy time till we figure out what's going on.
Yeah. No, and that may have been the best thing, is if Evans would have dumped this Ballings out of the ring and taken the fight outside the ring. But again, I don't know at this time, because we're not really seeing the full seizure. We just see the Edwards laying in the ring kind of, there's a little bit of twitching, but I don't know, again, how many people really know what a seizure looks like? How many people really know the signs of a seizure? Unless you're well knowledgeable or have an understanding or been trained, you may not know what a seizure looks like. And I can't say that these guys know. They see the referee laying there. They may be thinking he's selling a big job. I don't know how long this kid's been a ref. I don't know how long this kid's been around the company. I mean, there's so many elements that are different. And we know, because we know that there's people out here that all they do is ref. But we also know that some of the people that are coming up through the ranks might be in a referee position. So we don't know necessarily. There's just so many ifs, ands, and buts.
Yeah. There's the what if factor of all of this. And like we said before, it was an accident, a genuine, it's an accident. It's called, first and foremost, it is an accident, and they happen in this industry no matter what level you're on.
Exactly.
It's going to happen.
No, and that's the biggest thing, is we got to back off. To yell and scream that there was negligence and these guys should all be fired, I'm like, this is an accident. And they were trying to continue the match. Again, I said there's a live crowd. There's an incident going in the ring. You're going to try and get that out of the people who are there, lives mind. You're going to go do your thing. Now, Tony Evans picking him up by the belt and pulling him out of the way and kicking him, but he didn't kick him in my eyes. Like, he kind of booted him out of the way.
Yeah, he gave him a scoot. It wasn't even a boot. It was a scoot with the foot. Like, get out of my way, ref. And that's how it was.
And that's what he's trying. The ref wasn't getting out of the way, because when you take a bump and you're in there, you should be rolling out of the way.
Right.
That's in wrestling. You take a bump, you go down, you get out of the way. The center of the ring is the place. And the ref is pretty much in the center of the ring. Now, Evans didn't know what the severity of it. We did see the seizure start coming on at that point, but I think Evans was just like, okay, something's weird here. I need to get you out of the way because of the next spot, so nothing else happens. So, I mean, that's part of it. Should he have touched him having a seizure? Probably from a medical perspective, no. But
Right.
that we're not talking about doctors and nurses and trained medical people here. So he just was getting him out of the way. They did the next move, and I think that was pretty much it. There was only like 3 or 4 moves altogether that happened after this incident happened, before the match was stopped and somebody came out and started checking it, and everybody then, the attitude and everything changed, and then they stopped the show because they realized, okay, this is a little worse than it is. But I'm telling you, in a high intense environment like a wrestling match where everybody's on 12, adrenaline is at 100,000%. You're and when you're trained, when you're truly trained, and your brain is, second nature to just kind of do these things, you may not be thinking, oh, there's a serious medical issue. You're looking at it going, okay, we got to keep going because that's what I'm trained to do,
Yeah.
because you don't know what's going on. And it's like, if you stop and break the match, then you've deflated the whole thing. And so if the referee's if you come back and find out the referee's overselling, then it's one thing. But I mean, it's a tragic incident. It sucks. It does look like the young man's okay for the most part.
Good.
He did suffer a brain injury. What level? There's not a whole lot of details, but he's alert. He's alive. He's awake. And we don't want to hear any damage. This really needs to get out to Ugly. I'd love to hear Ugly's 2 cents on this.
I think I sent him the same exact video, and I was like, I would love to hear what you have to say, sir, because it's just, he's one of those minds we know. We know a very veteran sounded mind in the wrestling business, that he can give us an understanding. MPT, anybody else out there I've reached out to, we just want 2 cents on this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as in depth, and maybe I'm missing something. I'm not afraid to say I'm wrong, but from being at the 25th anniversary show and seeing not 1 but 2 incidents in one match happen, one a concussion, another one a broken nose, and the match still kind of went on, and though it changed in elements, I don't see maybe. Well, the concussion was pretty bad. The concussion put this competitor out of action for a long time. And they're okay now, and I think they're wrestling again, which is great and awesome. And this is tragic. And he had a seizure, which was probably, I don't know if this young man's had seizures before or anything. I'm assuming the concussion led to the seizure. So this was a first time experience. But I mean, it's hard to sit here and just attack them so violently that I'm seeing online, where people are just like, they need to be fired. They need to be this. I'm like, do we go back and have a long talk about, okay, next time something like this happens, we need to do A, B, or C. Take the match outside the ring until somebody can get out here. Was there better things to do? Probably. Good, but I'm not. Here's the thing I want people to understand. You're none of these guys. You're not in that position. So and that's why I'm saying I'd love to hear Ugly, because Ugly's been in that position. A lot of other guys that we know that we'd love to hear. If you're a wrestler and been in the ring when an incident's happened, and have a comment or suggestion or what you think, then I love to hear you, because you're way more advanced than me. I'm just a spectator that saw an incident and how it played out. And I look at this and I go, I don't see. I mean, the incident, the brain injury, concussion, seizure, was more severe in a little bit of a sense. It was still a severe concussion that the wrestler I saw during a match tape. And the person, the person taking the move, and the person that got concussed from taking the move, and the person that was giving the move, the person giving the move was completely not at fault, and that is very important. That I want. If this gets back around to that person, and no way is their fault, no way should ever, be blamed, or they should feel bad or guilty or anything. It was an accident, and I hate rehashing it, and that's probably what's gonna get. We're gonna get ugly mad at us. We're gonna get the ugly, like, why are you talking about this? But no, it shit happens. But I look at this and I go, in some ways, this was a little more severe. Maybe people should have reacted a little sooner. but I can't just come out and make these people all. I think this was a 4-way match or some match. I don't remember all the details, but I can't say between the 3 men that we see in the ring that this was a just they need to be fired. They need to never wrestle again. They should burn their boots. That they're just terrible, horrible people. I look at it and go, an accident in the ring happened. What these guys are initially trained to do is continue the match, which was what they were doing until somebody got in there and was like, oh, wait a minute, this is a little more serious and we need to take care of it. And they ended the match and OVW went off the air, and I don't know if I can sit here, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody will come at me and go, this is the way you need to look at it. This is why people are mad. I'm surprised by certain people who have aspects of the business under them. Like I see Grim on X, and I see him coming down on them in a way that surprises me, even though he runs his own company, and I know he has to be around accidents like this all the time. So to me, it's like, am I missing something?
Some of it must be, because there's a lot of people that are saying things on this or calling for their figuratively calling for heads, and I was expecting more of a valued input of what they could have done different instead of calling for some heads. And I'm like, okay, you're more seasoned than most of the people we know, or you, like you said, someone owns their own company, and you're calling for the heads of these wrestlers and these staff, but you're not giving an input on what they could have done better.
Yeah, no, I mean, Grim goes out and says, horrific scene out of OVW, referee having legitimate seizure, and these idiots continuing to wrestle around him as if he was selling the ref bump. Too stupid. This makes me so angry. And I'm like, but what is there to get angry about in the context of, I mean, at least the way I'm looking at it. Maybe I'm just looking at it from a different perspective than I should. I don't know. I just look at it and go, I think the referee went down. The initial response was, okay, the ref's down. Me as a heel, let's continue this match. A couple more spots happen before everybody goes, okay, it's more serious than we thought. Was there a delay that was too long? Yes. Do I blame the rest? I can't attack these guys and say they knew that the referee was seriously injured enough to go, okay, we got to stop. I mean, we're back. I mean, a man falling from the ceiling, crashing in the ring and dying, and we saw a wrestling show continue, and we can villainize and say that was a wrong call for a lot of reasons. Granted, I get where we could say that was going too far. This company even can't stop the end of their show, ended a main event match and said, we're going to go off air, and ended their show in a low, they didn't try to do anything to bring people back. They didn't try to they just kind of like, something's happened, we're going to get out of here. And then took the episode off the YouTubies. So in that hindsight, I'm like, that's everything that's good. But I just sit here and go in this moment. I don't. Oh, it's a hard one to understand, because I don't feel like they necessarily did anything unexpected or unreasonable. I mean, I get that people may jump on the Tony Evans guy for grabbing grabbing Edwards, young referee, by his belt and moving him out of the way. I mean, JD from New York, JDNY, everybody knows who he is. If you don't, then I don't know what rock good. Everyone in the ring should be effing fired and never allowed back in ever. A referee had a seizure during the match after a planned spot, and the first thing the wrestlers do is continue wrestling, kick, and shove him out of the way. I don't see shoved. He was pulled out of the way. And wording is key here. I think you can really. I think people need to understand wording is key in some of these things, because when you say shove and kick, you're like, well, that sounds vicious. And so then you watch it and you're kind of like, yeah, I don't know if they were shoved and kicked out of the way.
No, it's just weird, because I'm looking at more. And you see some people are like, oh, one of them right now is talking about, you need to shit can everybody. And like, no, you don't. You look at it from another perspective. As we said before, the wrestlers did what they're trained to do.
Yeah.
I don't know what else you want him to do.
And
Like he said, he didn't kick him. He nudged him with his foot, kind of scoot him over. Like
he was just
what's
trying
the
to get the
deal?
ref out of the middle of the ring so they could continue the match because they didn't know how severe the issue was. If they're not trying to understand that he was having a seizure, I don't know. And again, in a high intensity, when you're wrestling, your adrenaline's turned up to 1,000%. Once you step in that ring, you're not thinking in a processing way other than you're trying to get to what's next and going through the motions of what's trying to be next and being safe in this context. Dave Meltzer said basically, wow, this is one of the worst things I've ever seen in a ring in a long time, which doesn't really identify. Sean Ross Sapp doesn't attack anybody, just repeats what the girlfriend said. Mustafa Ali says speedy recovery to Dallas Edwards. And I think he made the best sense here. He goes, we can be upset with what happened. And no, granted, I'm upset that this young man was took this bump. I'm upset that he suffered a concussion, a seizure, that he suffered a brain injury, that he's in the hospital. I'm upset that this happened. As much as I was upset when the other one happened, I was upset, but I was angry at anyone in particular. I was angry at the situation. But he says we can be upset at what happened and make sure something like this doesn't happen again. And that's it.
Anyone see if Cornette said anything? I know his missus did.
And Ali was replying to FKA Tara Calloway, who said every single person involved in professional wrestling at full contact, high risk occupation needs to be trained in basic first aid and concussion protocols. There's no excuse. And I agree. I think that I said this earlier, basic medical training so you can understand these things. I think that's key. And I gave SPW, Ugly Dojo, and a lot of these people, they brought in somebody to give this training on CPR, first aid, and all that stuff to know. And that's what should be. So I don't think, and Mustafa Ali said that's what we should be doing. So, I mean, I agree. I think you go back and say, hey, we need to have some training on some of this basic stuff so we can understand. But, this other stuff it's over the board. Swerve 383658 said, I just watched a referee having a seizure in OVW. It's effing horrible. These idiots just wrestle around him. And then as he's stiff and shaking, one of the clowns just drags him out of the way. One of the worst things I've seen in wrestling. And that is saying something. I guess a lot of you all didn't watch the mass transit incident.
Oof.
So,
yeah, we know Unc. We know Unc. We'll just leave it at that. That was to this day, that's still like one of the worst ones I've ever seen. You really want to talk about it?
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm not trying to get deep into it. I'm just
no, but it's like you got people on here that you got more content creators speaking on something they have no experience in. That's what really makes me mad at this situation. Your 2 cents ain't valued in this because you've never been there. You don't know what's going on, nor do you know how these places work. Us have had some sensibility. You a little bit more than myself. We've seen how training goes and what they're being taught and what we're told to do.
I'd like to hear more from local referee Brie Montoya. A referee we know and love and respect. She said her quote on X was, actual pit in my stomach seeing what happened with that referee in OVW. We all take care of each other in there. I'd love to kind of possibly get her perspective from a referee, maybe a different insight that I'm not seeing, but I don't see her coming out with a vicious anger like anybody super did anything wrong.
No.
I think she's, there's just like we take care of each other. And it's very true. I mean, it didn't go exactly a way that I think we all want it to be. Crowbar, former WCW Crowbar. This is a huge teaching moment for new and young wrestlers and trainees. Learn from it. Don't duplicate it. Safety and everyone involved's well-being comes first. And there you go. Yep. I think that is a huge aspect of what
that is it right there. I've been seeing more of those comments more than the other ones. And those are the ones that I take a lot more value to, especially, with no pun intended, Yeah, with the ones that are talking about it are wrestlers and referees, local and ones we know personally that are sitting there stating, "Hey, this is the best they did.
Yeah.
They take care of each other." But I have to get rolling here, sir. I have to go pick up Mrs. Z from work.
All right.
We'll have to touch more on this on Sunday.
Oh,
if you're okay with that.
We got that to talk on Sunday. We've got the Brock Lesnar story about he doesn't want to lose until he retires. Comment. We got so much to talk about on Sunday. We're gonna have a fun time, but we're gonna get out of here anyways. I think we beat this a dead bush. I saw one more thing from Bree on the X that basically said if your referee's laying in the ring for more than 30 seconds, maybe something's very, very wrong. And that's where I think we can have a little upset. Was it took maybe a little too long for somebody to recognize and react, and I think that I understand why people might be upset. The other factors that these guys wrestled around him, I don't know if you can completely villainize them to a complete T. Could they have done other things? Yeah, but I mean that takes some training. Hey, if somebody so looks wrong, maybe Evans should have rolled out of the ring. Maybe Evans should have dumped the other guy out of the ring, fought outside the ring.
It was a tag match, by the way. So, it was a tag team match.
Okay.
So yeah, but I was saying
to that. But anyways. Yeah. That's the big man, Mr. Z. I'm the Big Time BT Baldwin. You know us. This is Value Wrestling. This has been the Big Time Breakdown, where we had breaking news that came on here. We talked about it. We're going to be back Sunday with the weekly roundup. We'll talk more about this. Maybe we'll get feedback from some people, and we'll be able to air some of that feedback, talk about that feedback. And we're going to talk about so many other things. So join us Sunday. It'll be up. When we get it, you'll see it. We'll be live. We'll have the discussions. We'll welcome you into the chat. And until then, we'll see you all on the next one. And we are going to get out of here right now.